No, she really did, and I said the deal that if we was making a movie to do this would have been the work that we would have put in for the movie work. It was so picture perfect, and I told Kerwin earlier, you know, we can't work horses like this every time, but this is the race of the life. This is the one you shoot for, and just put it all out on the line, let her work. And because if she can't do the work and come back in 5 days, she wasn't good enough to win to start with. And he did. He came back. He was just grinning, and every eighth was just so much stronger and just finished. So no, it was really good. She really did everything right, and she kind of touted herself in the Ashland that she was getting good. And she's one of those horses that does not have to carry a racetrack with her. She runs. I think if we throw marbles out there, she'd run over them. So, and my congratulations to. As I always called him Governor Jones, they call him Cousin Jones now. And but he just sends us such good horses, and this filly, and he gives us time to work on them. It's not like, okay, we want them to definitely win their first race, and you know we don't want them to ever lose. He just wants me to develop them, and he gives us that opportunity. And bless him, God bless him, and thank you, Lord.
Not that I want you guys to stay here and cheer as we're doing this. We do have the replay up here. We want to speak up for a pony reference.
I don't think I'm tired of watching it yet.
I'm going to come back and ask you about the other filly. But you know, there's a duo in Kentucky Derby history called the Jones Boys.
Yes.
That were big in winning derbies for Calumet Farm.
Yes.
You now occupy that spot in the Kentucky Oaks. Let's talk to the other Jones boy who is closely watching the race now. It'll be a good day to go. Good time to go to. Governor Jones, congratulations. 3 Kentucky Oaks for you, all with Jay Larry here. And you're a breeder. You've been a part of this industry all your life. Let's talk about how this one feels before a record crowd of the Kentucky Oaks of 123,763. That's about 7,000 beyond the old record. So you did it on the brightest spotlight the Kentucky Oaks has ever had.
Let me begin by saying
pull the mic up just a little.
I know that I and my family are blessed. Don't ask me why it has happened, but for some reason it has happened, and we could not be more thankful. And we recognize that this happened because of a big team effort. It happened because people at the farm have done the right things. Tim Thornton, the general manager of the farm, has done the right things. The people that have done the vet work have done the right things. That we give them to the trainer, and the trainer then gets to look them over and start training them, and we leave him alone. And then he gets the jockey, and he gets a good jockey, and he leaves the jockey alone. And I just kind of sit back and say, man, this is fun. And sure enough, it all works. So I really feel like we brought a lot of good people together to accomplish this. It certainly is not something that I deserve all the credit for.
Let's get to the man in the middle here. That's jockey Kerwin Clark. I want to start off just by getting this stat straight. How old are you on this day?
56.
When was your last birthday?
April the 18th.
So, again, it's been a big
recently, yeah, recently got old.
You got a little more spring in your step after the last month, and the Ashland in Keeneland, which you won on Lucky Marie into this race. That was your first grade 1 victory?
You know, yeah, it's my first grade 1, and it's funny because Lannery won his second grade 1 today. So he walked back in, he said, I'm 1 up on you. So he said, you have to win the Oaks. And I said, okay, no problem. So here we are. No, it wasn't that easy. It wasn't that simple.
How long have you been riding?
40 years. Started it, well, I guess it's 40, I know I lost track. 75 I started. So, long time.
From your conversations with Larry there, you thought you had an improving filly here with a big chance. Just talk about the race and how it felt as you were coming near the wire winning a race.
Well, you know, like Mr. Brereton Jones said, I mean, it's a team effort. I mean, you know, I think we have a great team. We all work toward the same goal, getting these horses to the right spots and trying to get them to run the best that they can. And it's such a feeling, I can't really tell you, because, you know, when you start off with babies, working them an eighth of a mile, 3/8 on up to their maiden race, and just seeing them progress and getting better and better. And this filly has been just getting better and better every time she's run. And the Ashland, I thought she touted herself big time. I mean, she won pretty handy. And then like Larry said when we worked it the other day, I mean, you know, I know how our program works and I know what he wants. And she did that breeze very, very easy and very happy to do it. And I knew we were coming into this race loaded. And you know, Larry told me, he said, look, we're as ready as we can be, and if it doesn't happen, it just wasn't meant to be. So, and it was meant to be. And if you can get Mr. Brereton to tell you the story about how this filly got her name, and
That's my next
and then
question.
the child that we have a handicapped child also, so if you can get him to tell you a story about the name, it just kind of all makes sense.
That's where I want to go because I heard that story this week
Yeah,
from Larry.
it's-
I wonder if you could share that story with us.
There's a hotel in Florida that my wife and I went to right after we were married, which was 42 or 3 years ago. I thought I turned my phone off. I'm
You
sorry.
better get the date right on the marriage book. That gets you in trouble.
This phone won't turn off. And I was told that that's where most of the people in the horse industry like to vacation. And I was moving here from West Virginia, and I decided that that's where I would like to go also, as did my wife, Libby. And when we got there, we were just, it was such a nice place. It was laid back. It wasn't overly fancy, but it was a nice laid back place to go. And so many horse people were there. And so we got to communicate with a number of those people. And as time went on, we would go back every other year maybe. And then about 5 years ago, I was back there, and I had the pleasure of talking to the short order cook who had said to me that would you consider naming a horse for somebody? And I said, well, of course I would. And I named the first horse for the man who had been working for 40 plus years as the lifeguard in the pool. That horse won about $600,000, and it was amazing to me. I mean, that's obviously a lot of money and a lot of wins. And he was eligible for the Derby, and Larry and I thought about running him in the Derby, but I didn't feel like he was quite of Derby caliber, and I had too much respect for the Derby or for the Oaks to run a horse that I didn't really feel 100% comfortable in. And Larry was just felt the same way, and so we shipped him up to New York, and he was able to win a Grade 2 race just like that. So it showed he was a good horse, and so then other people at the Seaview Hotel, which was the name of the hotel, there were other people then that they kept coming up to me and said, would you name a horse for me? And I realized then how important that was to so many different people, because I'd been around horses all my life. The name of the horse had not really registered so much with me. I mean, whatever the name, whatever you want to name it, that's fine. But then all of a sudden, that all changed. And I don't have a list in front of me, so I don't want to give you a quote that is inaccurate. But if I'm not mistaken, I had named 7 horses for people who work at the Seaview Hotel. and 6 of them are stake horses. Now that's one of the most unbelievable statistics I've ever seen in the horse business. But I can assure you that the Seaview Hotel will have more representatives in future races.
Governor, how about this particular horse, Lovely Maria?
This particular horse, Lovely Maria, was a lady. She's a lady now. She was a child then. But Mother Teresa, the Mother Teresa, was her godmother. And when the adopted mother of this young lady realized that there was going to be a change in her family structure because Mother Teresa was about to pass away, and so they then gave a lot of thought to it and wanted me to meet her, and they introduced me to her, and she really was and is just a lovely person with some problems, some serious problems that her family has been able to help her with, but those problems will always exist, and so then Albano, who is the short order cook at the Seaview, who I named a horse for, and Albano now has won over 600,000. And Albano asked me if I would name a horse for Maria, and I said, well, of course I would. I'd be happy to. And they said, well, let's just name it Maria. I said, let's name it Lovely Maria, because I met her and she was a lovely, lovely girl. And so we named her Lovely Maria. And now she's done better than all the others before. And like I said, I mean, the good Lord does these things, and I hope He doesn't stop doing them with me involved. But I mean, this is pretty special stuff.
Before I open up the questions, I want to take this film treatment one step further. We've got Boo Boo winning the race well into his 50s. We've got the governor winning for the 3rd time, the story of Lovely Maria and Mother Teresa. We're going to go back to Larry here and talk about the year you've had, the past year, which involved a very serious fall, a serious injury that had all of your friends and everyone who admired you extremely concerned. And you were back in, not only back in the saddle this spring after that, and but here and now winning another time.
Well, everyone was real concerned over that except for me, because I knew nothing about it. And it was 2 days before I knew anything what was going on. But it happened to be over the Easter weekend, and I didn't realize until right now it happened the day after Kerwin's birthday last year.
Yeah.
And so what a way to have to get to celebrate that birthday is let's get up and start riding Larry's horses for him. But no, it was 2 days I was in a coma, and they was going to have to do brain surgery, and I think the real reason they didn't, I didn't know they could find it to work on it. That was the problem. And make a long story short, I quit breathing in the MRI, so they had to resuscitate me and had to wait 24 hours to do the surgery. But when they went back in and did the MRI, all the bleeding had quit and had gone away. And that was Easter Sunday. So, great things happen on Easter. And that happened. The doctors was all in all. They said this doesn't happen. And my wife told them, said on Easter anything can happen. And in 2 days I was out of the hospital. Now, it lingered on a while, and they've had to put up with it for a long time. But as I said, the beauty part about me getting back to normal is I don't have to come up very high off the bottom until Larry's back to normal. A regular person, it takes a while. But yeah, in 5 weeks I was back to riding the pony, and they even said he actually even showed me where my truck was, let me start driving it again, because they had it in for me for 5 weeks. And but slowly but surely we've come back, and it's good, and it's all been a God thing. I mean, God does work. I don't know why He loves cowboys and horsemen and all the things He does, but He does. And just believe me, it's a blessing, and I'm glad He showed me the blessing that it was. And once again, He's blessed us again.
And Gail, what did your doctor say when you told them you were going to get back in the saddle and work your horses.
Well,
gallop your horses.
They told me that I didn't need to be riding anymore, and I told them, I said, I don't think the riding is the problem. It's the falling off that's really the problem. And so they assured me, don't fall off again. They said, you may not have another fall in you. And I told them, I said, well, I'll have one fall in me. I may not have another get up in me, but I'm sure I've got one more fall. And but the good Lord just told me, He said, fear not. And I really worried about it. Seriously, I thought, okay, I'm giving up the riding. And He dealt with me once again because I had the total dizziness. But He said, fear not. I had you this time. You don't remember it. I had you. And get back on. And all that dizziness, when I got on this first pony within 100 yards, quit. Now, was that from doing what God said do? Is that why the dizziness quit? I don't know. I'll never know. But I try not to question Him. And I know we all do. But believe me, He can handle big things, and I just let Him go. And like I said, He's blessed us. He blessed me, putting me with Governor Jones. He's blessed Kerwin here with me, and I knew of Kerwin 23 years ago. I was in Chicago, but I didn't have a horse he would have ridden no kind of way. But He waited to put us together, and I'm so glad He did. And it's just so good to be in this with really good men, and I just couldn't be more honored.
Open it up to these guys. Open up these guys.